Calgarians have selected their next mayor, probably. If the unofficial results hold, Jeromy Farkas is taking over the big chair at City Hall. It is a squeaker of a win, with Farkas defeating Sonia Sharp by roughly 600 votes, 585 votes, and Sharp says she is requesting a recount. Now, Jeromy Farkas joins us now in studio. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Lauren. It's so great to be back.
Congratulations, probably.
Well, thank you so much, and congratulations to Calgarians who voted. It was an incredible last 9 or 10 months on the campaign trail. I think we had about 25 different public forums and debates. So again, to the Calgarians who participated, but also to the candidates themselves. There's incredible amount of courage to put your name on a ballot, to stick your neck out there, as well as the volunteers, the families, everybody involved in the process.
So, I mean, I would ask you how it felt if it was a sure thing, and I might ask you how it feels given there is this uncertainty as well, but so far you've carried the day.
Well, it was incredible on election night to be surrounded with friends and family and supporters. Many of them in the room almost 10 years ago when I was elected as one of Calgary's youngest city councillors. Many of them were there when I lost in 2021. But for me, what was amazing was having brand new folks who were either new to the city or new to supporting me personally, engaged in the process. And one thing I'd want to say, though, is just to recognize and thank Mayor Gondek for her service. She led us through 4 very challenging years. Calgarians ultimately chose to go in a different direction, but still the point stands. Thank you to Jody Gondek.
You haven't said anything about this recount yet. How does that sit with you right now?
Well, it's obviously very close, and I fully support the recount. We had scrutineers involved on election night, very confident that the process was followed. But again, with such a close result, Calgarians need to know with certainty that the result was accurate, so fully support the recount.
You said yesterday a transition process is underway. Is it premature? Does it hang up a transition process when there is this uncertainty around the result?
No, absolutely not. I met with City Manager David Duckworth first thing yesterday. I am the mayor-elect, so we've been working to get the office team in place, meeting with the councillors-elect. And that's really the focus of the time, is to not just build the team within the staff, but also to build the team on council. Like, we've been hearing a lot about safety, about affordability, how we prepare Calgary for future growth. So that's really my focus, is to build that team and work from day one to be able to execute.
What conversations have you had with councillors?
I ran into Councillor McLean in the hallway at City Hall as I was just getting things in shape for our office. We had a good conversation about downtown safety, safety on transit, fiscal restraints. I've had the opportunity to speak with most of the councillors-elect, and everyone's very excited. And I have my ideas, what I ran on, but more so, I think each of these councillors are incredible leaders in their own community, right? They've been out pounding the pavement, listening to Calgarians. So a big part of my job as Calgary's next mayor is to support them in their work. There's
this interesting mix at first glance of sort of councillors that are, I mean, there's a ton of turnover for one thing, but also councillors who ran on fairly conservative platforms, councillors who ran on progressive platforms. What is your sense of how many 8-7 votes are coming down from this council?
Well, what I found gratifying was that Calgarians soundly rejected party politics at City Council. I think that we have a practical City Hall. We have a council that's willing to work for Calgarians. And even for me, it's very important for the ideas to be judged on their own merits, right? There's no such thing as a left-wing idea or right-wing idea at City Hall. There's just the practicality and the nuts and bolts of getting the work done. So very much looking forward to be able to build that team and those coalitions.
I say this with respect, but that sounds naive to say there's no right-wing and left-wing ideas at City Council.
Well, the issues, they pierce deeper, like things like, say, the low-income transit pass. Some people might think that that's poverty reduction or socially progressive policy. Fiscal conservatives could look at it actually saving money in terms of upstream expenses, actually helping people get to their education and employment, right? So it really depends on the issue. But at the end of the day, our mayor and council should operate more like a board, not like a business with profit in mind per se, but a nonprofit sector organization. And that's the experience that I bring to the table, bringing together conservatives and progressives, grassroots and business leaders to get the work done. Because after this election, I think all of us heard soundly at the doors that they just want council to work. They want us to work together. And the mandate that I sought and achieved was, as an independent, to be able to deliver results with a Liberal Prime Minister or a Conservative Premier to get the best job done for Calgarians.
Why do you think you won?
Oh, I so appreciate the fact that Calgarians engaged in the process, right? We put forward a very detailed plan. We talked about the safety challenges. We talked about affordability challenges. We talked about transparency, listening, and trust. And I think a plan beats no plan. But that said,
I mean, in a way, everybody talked about those things. So why do you think you won?
Well, we were the only one who actually had a plan around. Like, if you go to my website even today, you'll see our platform, 189 items. Talking about transparency, financial responsibility, mobility, housing, safety, right? And I think I go into this certainly with a level of humility. Calgarians have given me a second chance, and I'm going to prove everyone right.
On second chances, how will Mayor Farkas be different than Councillor Farkas was?
Well, Calgary's grown in the past 10 years, and so have I, right? I've had a lot of opportunities to be able to grow as a leader. Look, I know a lot less today than I did 5 years ago, but I'm a lot happier for it. And I think being able to come into this still as a fighter, but instead of fighting against something, fighting for something, and using all the skills and the talents and the teams that I've built in the nonprofit sector, it really brings me a fresh set of eyes to some of these challenges. And that's my commitment to Calgarians, is to continue to listen, to work hard, and to prove right the support that you've lent to me.
If the outcome holds, you'll have been elected with, significant 91,000 votes, roughly, like under 100,000 votes. It was divided up in just such a way between a number of candidates. But that, in a city of 1.5 million people, that's a small number. How do you interpret your mandate given that outcome?
Well, it was to your point earlier, Lauren, where you mentioned that a lot of the candidates were talking about the same things, right? So I think there's a broad mandate for public safety measures. We know that we're the only major city in Canada without a downtown police station. There's broad consensus for reopening that station. There's also broad consensus to attack the root causes of crime, right? So when we think about safety, and also when we think about affordability and household costs. So I think we have a strong mandate to be able to deliver for Calgarians on those safety and affordability challenges, but more so to listen to Calgarians. I think Calgarians haven't been feeling like they've been heard through a lot of the process, especially on topics like blanket rezoning.
What do you mean when you say you're going to listen? Like that is, I just want to say that's a kind of an easy thing to say. It's a hard thing to do in specific and meaningful ways. How will you do that?
Well, for sure. Like I've said that losing the 2021 election was one of the best things that could have ever happened to me. And it was the friends and supporters and mentors who emerged in my life that gave me that advice and that counsel, right? So my style as a city councillor was always to pick up the phone, to get back to people, to host public town hall meetings, and to make it practical, bring the decisions of City Hall out into the community. And that's the mandate that I've achieved, to continue that level of engagement.
What are you going to do about rezoning, given the amount of public, info you've just consumed and the other candidates, their ideas as well? What's the mandate on rezoning?
Yeah, there's a broad consensus, I think, amongst Calgarians that the blanket rezoning approach hasn't worked. It's according to Leger, it's fewer than 1 in 5 Calgarians support upholding the current version of the bylaw. And I'm fully committed to repealing blanket rezoning. It hasn't delivered the level of housing at the affordability or in the right price point that Calgarians are expecting. It's often delivered, in my case, I live in Glamorgan, and you'll see often $600,000 bungalow being torn down, replaced with 4 $750,000 luxury condos. So I'll be working with this council to repeal the blanket rezoning bylaw. But it's really important to talk about what's next. My plan calls for a targeted, community-informed approach, focusing on transit-oriented development, where the services and infrastructure can support it through the local area plan process. So let's make sure that we continue to build, because we're in a housing crunch. We're a housing crisis for a lot of Calgarians. We had 300,000 brand new Calgarians arrive here in the last 4 years. We're on track. I'll be mayor to welcome the 2 millionth Calgarians. So we got to make sure that we have the services, infrastructure, and housing there to provide a great, safe, and affordable life for every single Calgarian.
Yeah. Appreciate you coming in. Wish you well in the work. We'll obviously watch the recount, but thank you for your time this morning.
Yeah, and just on a personal level, Lauren, like you've been an incredible part of my own journey. I know I've had a lot of opportunities to chat with your listeners. A lot of time on the Eyeopener. A lot of opportunities to chat with your listeners, and thank you so much to Calgarians. Thank you, Mayor Gondek, for your service. We're going to be working really hard for you.